A woman's garden is growing beautifully, but the tomatoes won't ripen. She goes to her neighbor and says, "Your tomatoes are ripe. Mine are green. What can I do about it?" The man replies, "Well, it may sound absurd, but here's what to do. Tonight, there's no moon. After dark, go out into your garden and take all your clothes off. Tomatoes can see in the dark, and they'll be embarrassed and blush. In the morning, they'll all be red. You'll see." She says to herself, "Well, what the heck, it can't hurt to try it." Next day, her neighbor asks how it worked. So, she answers. "The tomatoes are still green, but the cucumbers are all 4 inches longer." 0. A beautiful blonde goes out with a bodybuilder. Things go well, and by their 4th date, she wants to take it to the next level. They reach her apartment, and after a nice dinner, begin to kiss and take their clothes off. The blonde says, "Wow, what a great chest you have." He says, 100 lbs of dynamite, babe." He takes off his pants, and the blonde says, "What massive calves you have." He replies, "That's 100 lbs of dynamite, babe." He then removes his underwear, and the blonde runs off screaming in fear. He rushes to put his clothes back on and chases after her. He finally catches up with her. "Why did you run away?" He pants. She says, "With all that dynamite, I ran when I saw how short the fuse was." 1. A young Mexican man named Jose was curious about America, so he saved his money and went on a trip. He wanted to go see a baseball game, so when he went home, he could tell his family all about it. When he got there, the game was sold out, so he decided to climb to the top of a flagpole to get a better look. When he returned home, his family was anxious to hear about his experience. "What happened?" asked his family. "Well, America is the nicest place in the world," he said. "Before the game started, all the people in the stands and all the players stood up, looked at me, and shouted to me, 'Jose, can you see?' 2. A blonde lived with 2 blonde roommates. She bought a new car, and on the way home from the dealer, got caught in a terrible hailstorm. Her brand new car was dented all over. When she got home, she called the service department to ask what she should do. They offer to send the car to a mechanic, but she'd have to pay for it. She tells them she has absolutely no money. Couldn't they just send someone anyway? The service chief, being a prankster, told her to wait till the car was cool and then blow hard on the tailpipe, which would pop out all the dents. A half hour later, her roomies saw her on her knees behind the car, blowing as hard as she could. They asked what the heck she was doing, and she told them, adding in a perplexed tone, "But it's not working." "You dummy," one of her blonde roommates said. "You have to roll up the windows first." 3. A young Italian girl was going on her first date. Before the date, her nonna decided to give her some advice. Nonna said, "Sita here, Anna letta me, tell you about those younger boys. He's gonna try and kiss you. You are gonna like that. But don't let him do that. He's gonna try and kiss your breasts. You are gonna like that too. But don't let him do that. But most important, he's gonna try and lay on top of you. You are gonna like that. But don't let him do that. Doing that will disgrace the family." With that bit of advice, the granddaughter went on her date. The next day, she told Grandma that her date went just like she had predicted. "Nonna, I didn't let him disgrace the family. When he tried, I just turned over, got on top of him, and disgraced his family." 4. A biology student doing his thesis on wasps is walking down the street when he passes a record store. In the window, he sees a record called Wasps of the World and the sounds they make. Intrigued, he walks into the store. He says to the shopkeeper, "I'll have that wasp record in the window, please. I've been listening to so many wasps, I'll probably be able to know each and every one of them." He smiles smugly as the shopkeeper feigns interest. The student pays and leaves. When he gets home, he puts the record on. Bzzz, it goes. But the man is stumped. He doesn't know what type of wasp this is. He waits for the next track. Boops! And again. He can't identify which species of wasp this is. It gets to the 5th track and he breaks down. He can't identify a single wasp, yet he thought he was already an expert on the subject. He calls his professor round to the house to help. When he arrives, he explains to him, "I thought I was an expert by now, but I can't identify a single wasp on this whole record," he says, almost in tears. The old professor ponders for a minute as he looks at the record. "Ah, I know what the problem is," he says. "What? What is it?" "You've got it on the B side." 5. 2 women were sitting in the doctor's waiting room, comparing notes on their various disorders. "I want a baby more than anything in the world," said the first. "But I guess it is impossible." "I used to feel just the same way," said the second. "But then everything changed. That's why I'm here. I'm going to have a baby in 3 months. You must tell me what you did." "I went to a faith healer. But I've tried that. My husband and I went to one for nearly a year, and it didn't help a bit." The other woman smiled and whispered, "Try going alone next time, dearie." 6. A Texan is in London for business and decides he'd like to see the sights before he leaves, so jumps into a taxi and has them show him around. They drive past Big Ben, and the taxi driver notes it took 15 years to build. The Texan scoffs at this. "You Brits are so slow. We'd build something twice the size in half the time." Next, they swing by the Tower Bridge. Again, the driver comments that this impressive landmark was completed in only 8 years. And again, the Texan scoffs. "That bridge is tiny. In Texas, we would have built a much larger bridge in just a year or 2. A little further on, they drive past Buckingham Palace, but the taxi driver doesn't comment on it. The Texan is puzzled and asks, "What's that then? I suppose that must have taken you 100 years to build." The taxi driver just shakes his head. "Sorry, mate. Not sure what that one is. Wasn't here yesterday." 7. A man goes into a restaurant and is seated. All the waitresses are gorgeous. A particularly beautiful waitress came to his table. "What would you like, sir?" He looks at the menu and then looks at her, then answers, "A quickie." The waitress turns and walks away in disgust. After she regains her composure, she returns and asks again, "What would you like, sir?" Again, the man looks at her and answers, "A quickie, please." This time, her anger takes over. She reaches over and slaps him across the face with a resounding smack and storms away. A man sitting at the next table leans over and whispers, I think it's pronounced quiche." 8. A trucker came into a truck stop coffee shop and placed his order. He said, "I want 3 flat tires, a pair of headlights, and pair of running boards." The brand new blonde waitress, not wanting to appear stupid, went to the kitchen and said to the cook, "This guy out there just ordered 3 flat tires, a pair of headlights, and a pair of running boards. What does he think this place is? An auto parts store? No, the cook said. 3 flat tires mean 3 pancakes. A pair of headlights is 2 eggs, sunny side up. And running boards are 2 slices of crisp bacon. Oh, okay, said the blonde. She thought about it for a moment and then spooned up a bowl of beans and gave it to the customer. The trucker asked, "What are the beans for, Blondie?" She replied, "I thought while you were waiting for the flat tires, headlights, and running boards, you might as well gas up